The reason your agent works in the demo and falls apart in production has nothing to do with the framework that you chose. It has to do with a decision that you skipped before you ever opened your editor. Most engineers, when they start building the agentic AI, they ask the wrong first question. They ask us, should I go for line graph or crew AI? And the question feels like progress. It feels technical, but it's the last decision a serious engineer makes, and it's not the first. Today, I'm going to walk you through what an AI architect actually designs before single import statement. And by the end of it, you'll never start an agent project the same way again. So here's the pattern that I see constantly, guys. An engineer will open a tutorial, picks a framework, writes up an agent loop. The agent is going to call the tool, it is going to return an answer, and the demo works, they will ship it. And on a laptop with one clean input, it clearly does work. Now, that's the trap, guys. A demo proves that the happy path exists. It tells you that nothing about what happens when the input is messy. The tool times out. The model hallucinates a step, or the same action runs 10,000 times a day. The architect does something different. Before any code, they define where the system is allowed to fail, where it is allowed to decide, and what it is allowed to decide, and how they will know that it's working. The framework is an implementation detail that falls out of all these answers for the question that I'm talking about. Now, let me make this gap as a concrete one. See, the tutorial thinking is always going to ask us which framework, but production thinking is going to ask us what can break, who's going to pay when it breaks. Tutorial thinking calls it done when it ran once, but the production thinking calls it done when it fails safely under the load. Tutorial thinking optimizes for looking impressive, but the production thinking optimizes for being measured, bounded, and observable. Now, this is the whole distance between intermediate and the senior. It's not more syntax, it's a different set of question asked in a different order. So here's the framework that I wanted to take from this video. I call this as a system readiness lens. 5 questions that you need to answer before you even choose a tool. Number one, failure surface. Where can this go wrong? Number two, the decision boundary. What is the agent is allowed to decide on its own? Number three, the eval loop. How do we actually know whether it's working? Number four, the trade-off map. Like what does each design choice specifically is going to cost us in latency, money, accuracy, and safety? Number five, the review layer. What pulls a human into this loop? Answer all these five, and the framework choice becomes almost trivial. If you skip them, no framework will actually want to save you. So let's go through each of them in detail. The lens one is failure surface. An agentic system has more places to fail than a normal service because every step is probabilistic in nature. Retrieval can pull the wrong chunk, vocabulary mismatch between my query and your corpus, or a stale index. Reasoning can hallucinate a step, it can loop forever, or it might pick the wrong tool. The tool calls can fire with malformed arguments and cause the side effects that you can't roll back. State can drift across the turn, cost can explode when a recursive agent runs away, and safety, like prompt injection, data exfiltration, is a failure surface that most people never map at all. So here's the key insight, guys. The dangerous failures are mostly the silent ones. Agent returns something which is confident and wrong, and nothing gets alerted. You cannot bound a failure that you never named. So the architect is going to name them first. Lens number two is the decision boundary. Now, this is the most under-designed part of the agentic system, and it's the one that gets companies into trouble. Autonomy is not a default you inherit from the framework. It's a spectrum that you assign, and you assign it based on the reversibility and the blast radius. Read only, reversible action. You'll have a search, summarize, draft that can be fully automatic. But when it comes to write, that needs to be validated. It has to be made idempotent, and it should be having the capability to roll back. And these should be the guarded ones. But it is allowed, but it is fenced. So high cost action, which is irreversible, like payment deletion, sending something to a customer. Now those route to a human every single time by the design. Now, when you draw this boundary explicitly, half of the agent did something crazy, those kind of incidents will disappear even before they happen. Now, the third lens is the eval loop. Now, this is what separates the engineering from prompt tweaking. You start with a golden data set, have real task with known good outcome. You run the offline evals against it. So every change is measured, not wiped. In production, you're going to trace every single step: retrieval hits, tool calls, token cost, latency, and critically, you put a regression gate in front of the changes. So when someone edits a prompt, it runs the eval suit before it ships. Now without this, you're not iterating. You're just guessing and calling the guesses that didn't visibly break the improvements. Now you need to define correctness per task type. You need to measure it, gate on it, and that's what we call it as a loop. And the fourth lens is the trade off map. Senior engineers almost never say something is better. They say it's better at the cost of something specific. More tool calls and more reasoning step is going to buy you the capability, and it's going to cost you the latency, money, and a bigger failure surface. A bigger model buys you the accuracy, and it's going to cost you the dollars per call and a slower P95. More autonomy is going to reduce the human load, and that is going to increase your blast radius. More retrieval, that is the higher number of K, is going to buy you the recall, but it's going to cost you noise and the context bloat. Every lever has a price tag. The design work is choosing which prices that you're willing to pay for the specific system that you're working with. Now that's the conversation that happens in a real architecture review as well as in your interview. And the fifth lens is the production review layer. A review layer is not a fallback that you added after an incident. It's part of the architecture diagram from the day one. Some actions are reviewed. Anything irreversible, any low confidence output, novel input, anything policy sensitive. Now, other actions are high volume and reversible. Like those are something that you would log, sample, and alert on anomalies rather than reviewing every single one. Now, this is where the observability and governance actually live. You decide upfront what my human sees and what runs attended. And that decision is your architecture. So look at this order, guys. Boundaries, then evals, then trade-off, and then the framework. By the time that you have answered the five lenses, the tools will select itself. You just need to know whether you need the explicit graph control, or do you just need the multi-agent orchestration, or maybe you just need a clean SDK and a loop that you can write yourself. LangGraph, Crew AI, Raw SDK, they are just the implementations of a design that you have already made. It's not the design itself. Now that's what we call it as the inversion. Most people start at the bottom of the diagram. The architect is going to start at the top. Now, let me give you a way to locate yourself honestly, guys. Level 0 is someone who copies the tutorial and picks the framework first. Level 1 is going to build working agent with no evals and no boundary. Level 2 is going to add the observability, but only after something breaks in the production. Level 3 is someone who's going to design the boundaries, evals, trade-offs first, and treats the framework as a last and the smallest decision. Most engineers watching this are at 1 or 2, and there's no shame in that. It's where building by tutorial is going to land you. The question is, whether you stay there or not. If you want to make that jump deliberately, like not by accident over 5 years of getting burned in production, that's exactly what this AI architect system design course is built for. It's going to train the full discipline of thinking, like designing the failure surface, explaining in the interview, and explaining in your architectural discussion. It's about reasoning, cost, latency, safety, governance as the explicit trade off. It's the architecture first framework that are taught as implementations of the design. Now, it's for the engineers with 2 to 10 plus years of experience who want to think and defend the decision at a staff or a principal level. It's not for someone who wants a copy paste demo to ship it by Friday. If that's what you're asking for, or if that's what you're after, then this is not for you. And that's fine. So here's my ask, guys. If you are done collecting the tutorial and you want the production discipline, which you can actually carry it in your system and any interview. The AI Architect System Design course is open. The link is in the description. Come in if you're serious about designing the system instead of assembling the demos. That's the whole bar. So design the boundaries first. The framework is the easy part. Systems first, demos don't. If you're looking for hands-on build end-to-end, then that's what we also have in the bootcamp. So this is Nachiketh Murthy. I'll see you in the next one.